The New York Football Giants were pushed around on the ground in 2025, but Dennard Wilson is building a defense designed to make that humiliation impossible to ignore. This is not a cosmetic adjustment. This is not a little tweak. This is not Big Blue pretending one new body fixes a broken identity. This is a shift in philosophy. The Giants are getting bigger, heavier, nastier, more physical up front, and nobody is paying attention to this part. The move is not just about adding size. It is about changing who gets to dictate the terms on Sunday. Because when you build a front with around 1,200 pounds of muscle, put DJ Reader in the middle, and hand it to a coordinator who wants violence, you are not chasing style points. That number matters because it means the Giants are trying to stop being moved. They want to become the wall. And when you connect the dots, this defense is sending one message. Big Blue is done getting bullied. Let's be honest about where things stand. The Giants did not need a prettier defense. They needed a meaner one. The holes were clear. The run defense was not good enough. The interior did not consistently scare people. Opponents could lean on the ground game, stay ahead of the chains, and force the Giants into the kind of football that breaks your spirit slowly. That is where this gets real. When a team gets gashed on the ground, everything else starts to crack. The pass rush gets fewer obvious passing downs. The secondary has to cover longer. The linebackers get stuck fighting through traffic. The offense, even with Jaxson Dart now as the starting quarterback, gets dragged into tighter possessions because the defense cannot get off the field. And the worst part is psychological. Once teams believe they can run on you, they keep testing your toughness. They shorten the game. They punch, and they wait to see if you punch back. Last season, that fatal flaw was too obvious. The Giants could talk about talent, potential, and future vision all they wanted. But if you cannot stop the run, you are not serious enough in January football. You are not built for cold weather. You are not built for the NFC East mud fight. The front had to get heavier. The attitude had to get sharper. The standard had to change. And under John Harbaugh as head coach, with Dennard Wilson shaping the defense, this cannot be a soft reset. It has to be an identity correction. Because if the Giants are still light, still reactive, and still getting washed out, then none of the talk matters. And that brings us to what is being built right now. Dennard Wilson is not building this defense to be cute. He is building it to hit people in the mouth. That phrase matters because it tells you what the Giants are prioritizing. They are not leading with finesse. They are not leading with disguise. They are not leading with the hope that speed alone covers up weakness. They are building a front that can punish opponents. The headline is simple. The Giants are trying to create a monster defense in 2026. That year matters because this is not being framed as a distant rebuild. This is being framed as the season where the defense must become the foundation. And I love it. I know some fans want every conversation to start with the quarterback. I get it. Jaxson Dart is the starting quarterback, and his development matters. But the fastest way to help a young starting quarterback is not just giving him slogans. It is giving him a defense that creates shorter fields, steals possessions, and keeps games from turning into track meets. That is why this defensive pivot has real weight. A violent defense changes the personality of the whole roster. It tells the offense, you do not have to be perfect. It tells the locker room, we have something to lean on. It tells opponents, you are not walking into MetLife and controlling the line of scrimmage anymore. And this is where the mosaic starts to make sense. The Giants were gashed on the ground in 2025. That is not just a stat problem. That is an identity problem. When fans watch their team get run through, they do not just see missed gaps. They see disrespect. They see another team saying, we are stronger than you. That cannot be the brand of the New York Football Giants. Not under Harbaugh. Not with Wilson. Not if this franchise is serious about becoming physical again. So when the defense is being described as violent, I do not hear empty hype. I hear a coordinator trying to restore consequences. If you run inside, you pay. If you double one body, another one wins. If you try to wear them down, they wear you down first. That is the type of football Giants fans recognize. That is the Big Blue wrecking crew energy this franchise has been missing in spirit. Not as a museum piece. As a modern identity. Now, does saying violent automatically make the defense great? No. Words do not stop the run. Press conferences do not tackle. Philosophy only matters when the personnel matches it. And that is why the DJ Reader part is so important. Reader represents the kind of tone-setting addition that changes the room. Not because one player solves everything by himself, but because the type of player matters. The Giants are not chasing a lightweight patch. They are looking for mass, attitude, and interior resistance. This is not cosmetic. This is the franchise admitting the old version was not enough. And when you see how Reader fits into the front Wilson wants, the whole picture changes. The identity is the mission. DJ Reader is the evidence that the Giants understand what the mission requires. Because vibes alone do not stop the run. Size, leverage, violence, and discipline stop the run. And Reader is exactly the type of player you add when you are tired of watching opponents turn second down into a comfortable situation. The Giants' new front is being described around roughly 1,200 pounds of muscle. That number matters because it tells fans this is not a speed-only front. This is a mass problem for opposing offensive lines. Think about what that does to a game. If the middle becomes harder to move, everything else gets cleaner. Linebackers can trigger faster. Edge defenders can play with more aggression. Safeties are not constantly dragged into emergency run fits. The whole defense can finally breathe. And this is the part nobody is talking about. A heavier front is not just about stopping a running back after a short gain. It is about forcing offenses to abandon comfort. If opponents cannot bully the Giants inside, they have to play a different game. They have to throw into more pressure looks. They have to protect longer. They have to deal with a defense that is no longer reacting from its heels. DJ Reader in the middle is a philosophical announcement. The Giants want a grown man presence inside. They want someone who represents tone. They want the kind of body that tells the rest of the defense, we are not moving backward today. That matters for Dennard Wilson because his defense needs force. If the coordinator wants this unit to dictate terms, then the interior cannot be optional. It has to be the starting point. And under John Harbaugh, that makes even more sense. Harbaugh teams are not supposed to be fragile. They are supposed to be organized, demanding, physical, and deeply uncomfortable to play against. This is where the Giants' direction finally lines up. The head coach wants a tougher team. The coordinator wants a violent defense. The roster is adding serious size. The fatal flaw was stopping the run. The response is not subtle. That is what I want from Big Blue. Not a half measure. Not a cute package. Not a defense that looks fast until someone punches it in the ribs. I want a defense that makes offenses earn every inch. And when you combine Reader's tone with the rest of this bigger front, the next question becomes obvious. Who has to become the X factor that makes the whole thing dangerous? A heavier front gives you the blueprint. But X factors decide whether the blueprint becomes a real defense or just another offseason talking point. That is why the Giants' 2026 X factors matter so much. That number matters because this season is being treated like the prove-it moment. The defense cannot wait forever to become physical. If the Giants want this violent identity to work, key players have to hit. Not someday. Not in theory. Now. Because a defense built around size still needs finishers. It needs players who turn disruption into stops. It needs bodies that do not just occupy space, but create fear. It needs the second wave to arrive angry. This is where ESPN's power rankings matter, too. Not because national lists decide anything. They do not. But because perception is starting to catch up to what Giants fans can already feel. The national conversation is beginning to recognize that the Giants may have fixed their fatal flaw. Stopping the run was the problem. The response has been bigger, heavier, and more physical. That recognition matters because it means this is more than meets the eye. People outside the building are noticing the pattern. And when outside voices start saying the Giants may have addressed the thing that broke them, that is not random. This is not a coincidence. The G-men are not trying to win an off-season beauty contest. They are trying to build a defense that travels, survives, and punishes. That is the proof of the master plan. The front gets heavier. Reader sets the tone. Wilson demands violence. Harbaugh raises the standard. ESPN starts noticing. And the X factors become the bridge between idea and reality. This is not about one move. This is about the reset this franchise needed. Hot take. The Giants will finish with a top 10 run defense in 2026. And I am not backing down from that. That number matters because top 10 means the league can no longer treat the Giants like a soft matchup. It means the identity has changed on the field. If I am wrong, I will come back to this video and own it. I will say I bought into the physicality too early. I will say the front was not ready. But I do not think I am wrong. Here is my strongest position. DJ Reader is going to be more important to this defense than some fans realize, because his value is not only in splash plays. His value is in making the whole structure harder to break. Some fans will say the modern NFL is all about passing. Fine. But you still lose your soul when teams run through you. You still lose control when opponents decide the game on their terms. I am choosing the violent defense over the pretty defense every single time. And here is the prediction. The Giants will hold multiple opponents under 100 rushing yards this season in games they would have lost before. That number matters because it is the line between being controlled and taking control. So pick a side. Are the Giants really becoming bullies again? Or is this just another off-season mirage? Big Blue is not trying to look tougher. Big Blue is trying to become tougher. That is the thesis. That is the whole story. The defense got embarrassed on the ground, and now the franchise is responding with size, attitude, and a coordinator who wants violence at the center of everything. This is the kind of move that changes everything when the players buy in. Giants fans, honest answer. Do you believe this defense is ready to hit back, or do you still need to see it before you trust it? I am planting my flag. This is the defensive turn that puts the G-men back at the table. If you are riding with Big Blue through this rebuild, you know where that subscribe button is. We decode every move, every rumor, and every identity shift that matters. The Giants are done getting bullied. Go Big Blue.